out to everybody online who decides they want to stop in and say hi and just give me a hey, thumbs up or whatever. I'd like to hear from each and every one of you if you've got a minute or two. Today I just wanted to reach out because, like I said, I've got some fun and frivolity lined up for this evening. I'm actually heading off to a car show tonight. For anybody who might be sort of in the Edmonton area, then you probably know that there's a car show, the International Car Show, down at the Expo Center. I plan to make that. I'm gonna head on down there and yeah, hopefully have some fun. Hey, Tread, hey, what's up? Great to see and hear from you again for sure, and great to have you back in the live stream. And I see a few more people joining in now. And sorry for the last week. We kind of had a bit of a screw up there. The second time I kicked it, it went well, so we're good. But I hope I redeemed myself. Anyway, with that said, hope everybody's having a wonderful week and some pretty cool things going on. Jeff Baker says car shows are fun. Yeah, I hope so. I heard kind of rumors that there's some cool stuff going on there. There's a lot of exotics. I heard Ferrari's got a small booth. Heard Lamborghini's got a booth, and there's a Race for a Cure, which a local group that gets together. They raise funds and raise money to support ill kids, and it's a great foundation, great support structure there. But it's been a couple of years, so we'll probably like to see and run into some of the folks down there with their fun cars. But I just want to see what's in the market and to see what every manufacturer has. I've been sharing a lot of these different brands and cars all year long, and it's nice to see a lot of them in the flesh. Like I've reviewed a lot of them and I've seen a lot of them throughout the year, but it's great to actually go down there, touch them, jump inside and kind of really look at them back to back. But we're heading on down to the car show. I just kind of wanted to reach out and see how everybody's doing today. Everybody hopefully having a great week and hopefully a better mood now that the weather's shaping up. I guess where I'm really heading with this is just looking for everybody's thoughts, opinions out there, always looking to sort of pull you guys, the members, the viewers, the supporters of the channel, the OGs, everybody new, in between, older, and anybody who's been kind of watching the channel for a while. Some channel ideas, and I've got lots of ideas. I've got a lot of content I've already built and I've already uploaded. A lot of it's going to be flowing, but I do want to reach out to all of you and see if somebody's got some ideas, some content that makes sense that you'd like to see, that would resonate with you. And maybe not specifically the cars, but maybe more importantly, concepts or ideas. I'd love to hear, I'm always open for ideas. As you can see right over there, I have a car draped in black. That's my new toy over there. And I plan to share more and more of that with of course, with the membership group. So as the members will be able to see that, I do plan to do a bit of a live stream in there that goes only probably to the members. So I'll probably do that here shortly, but I do want to share with all of you that I'm open to always new ideas. This car market is a really, really wild, changing car market. Some cool vehicles out there. I'm really interested to see what some of these manufacturers are doing. I mean, did you see I'm not promoting any brand specifically other than quality, reliability, fun, and of course, value for the money. But do you see Tesla? The Cybertruck, the sort of proverbial garbage can on wheels? Well, he came out with a whole new Cybertruck now. It looks like more of a conventional truck. That could be interesting. That's kind of being released right now. I don't expect to see that at the car show, but it's something that's coming out. Okay, Jeff Baker, N54 was the last build. What would you get now that's similar in nature and can handle that kind of power without upgrading internals? Newish, used, of course. You know what, Jeff? I think to change directions on that type of car, I had my eyes on a couple of vehicles that can tolerate a lot of boost, that can tolerate some nice mods, and quite honestly, even out of the box, there's some of the best performance cars. You know what that is? The Audi TT-RS and the RS3. That turbo 5-cylinder engine is some of the most resilient, robust engines. And yeah, ARP says B58. That is an awesome drivetrain. I actually got somebody very close to my circle Shout out to Jalen, who's got himself a 340 M340i. He's got a beautiful white, just put a nice carbon spoiler on the back. I may even feature that car in the channel coming up very, very soon, so stay tuned. But he's got a nice white on black 340 with the B58. That's a great drivetrain and a wonderful platform. But I do think that Audi with the Turbo 5 is one of the hottest underrated engines right now. You don't hear a lot about them, but they're absolutely amazing. Tread says, review tech integrations and whether it's valuable. And GRO says, and are ignorant. And then For All Agent says, just ordered rear-wheel drive Cybertruck. Nice, that's cool. I'd like to hear about that, For All. What your overall take is on that and your takeaway once you take possession of your vehicle. I'd love to hear more about it and sort of your takeaway. You hear a lot of feedback. I mean, there's people that say a lot of negative stuff, but there's a lot of people that swear by them. I mean, there was even a fellow Canadian, I think in Saskatchewan, if I'm not mistaken, Saskatoon, that has a channel, not with a Cybertruck, but he's got, I believe, a Tesla Model 3, and he talks about all of the ins and outs and owning them in these minus 40-degree weather. So it's pretty interesting. ARP, like how you mentioned the 5-cylinder. Yeah, absolutely. Great engines. And For All Agents says, I'll let you know, sir. Yeah, I'd like to hear that. I really would. And, once you have some miles, and I would assume there's a bit of a waiting period for that, but I'd like to hear more about it. VAG, cars are very tunable. They really are. And of course, being a turbo cars are always lots of fun. You can always do a lot with them. They're not so great for reliability. Usually most turbo engines are running hot, running hard. Durability isn't quite what it is with an NA engine. But if you like going fast, and maybe it's not a daily driver, maybe it's your Sunday cruiser, then you know what? Drive what makes it fun. And those are definitely fun engines. So if you're asking an engine, a car that I would be really enthusiastic about maybe looking at a little closer, could be a 5-cylinder Audi. Amsterdam says, Salem Alchem brother, how are you greetings from the Netherlands? Thank you so much for reaching out, and I really do appreciate it. And it's really inspiring to hear those from, not just here, because I see in my analytics that I have a lot of viewers that are from, obviously California seems to be the hot spot, but a lot in the US, some in Canada, some in Australia, some in the UK, but all over in Europe. It's interesting to see that all in Asia. I'm seeing them in Africa. I've got viewers everywhere, and it's really, really cool to see people from across the globe. What do we got here? What about B6 and BE9 Cybertrucks? I'd like to hear more about that. I'm not too familiar with that. Lisa Hawley. Hey, Lisa Hawley, how are things? Howdy doody. Brian Glenn says, hi, do you like the RAV4 Prime plug-in? I love it. I was actually going to buy one, and if I want to just cut to the chase and be totally transparent, I was shopping for one last year, and I walked into a dealership here in the city. I won't call them out, but they were kind of playing games. I went in there asking about it, and I said, do you have any? And they said, well, no, we don't. They're kind of a long lead time. You're probably 6 to 8 months, maybe a year. Oh, and then they played this. Oh, but we have one out in the parking lot. A customer ordered it, but didn't pick it up yet. So it's sitting there, so we're not sure. It's a top trim. They've thrown on a few extras, but yeah, I can show you that. And so he spit out the build sheet for it. And basically what he did was he took the top trim level, XLE, I think it was. I can't remember, Platinum or XLE or whatever it was. And they ended up throwing a bunch of PPF on there and undercoating. And they upmarked it another $14,000. I said, for what? Oh, because we got mag locks, undercoating, and PPF. Okay, you've got probably $3,000 worth of product and you're charging 14 grand. I'm like, he goes, that's how we make our money. At least they were transparent. So I wasn't too impressed by that, but I do like the Prime because the plug-in hybrid, it makes sense for short trips. That said, it's a lot more money. And so unless you're doing a lot of short trips in the city, it's almost better to get something that's just a garden variety vehicle, because that differential in fuel savings is just not there. It's going to take you 10, 15, 20 years if you're driving a mixed freeway highway. So the value, you have to look at the numbers, the kind of miles you're putting on, and if it's a lot of city miles, then it might be worth it. But if it's mostly freeway, highway, I wouldn't bother. Maybe save your money. ARP says, I'm from Canada, feral agent, Southern Nevada. Right on. Hello, everybody. Lots of dealers also, ARP says, now playing games. I just went to different dealership and got a good deal. Totally true. You have to shop around. You have to look around. You have to be thinking outside the box, and you got to be willing to travel. If you're not willing to travel, you're kind of snookered. You're going to pay what the dealers locally are going to charge you. What is important for you in car fuel efficiency with safety or brands? What is important for you in car fuel efficiency with safety or brands? Well, for me, I mean, if you're talking priorities for cars, like a new car, you know what, and I'm assuming if I'm reading this right, you know, safety, reliability, priority, you know, where does that lie? Performance, fun, value for the money. I've always said this. I mean, my channel is always hinged around life's too short to drive boring cars. So there's always got to be an underlying fun factor to it. To me, a plug-in hybrid, those cars are zippy, but they also meet the intent of being practical and fuel efficient. So for being honest, one of my highest priorities is always going to be fun. Is it fun? Is it interesting? Is it neat looking? Does it have the styles and some of the features and the performance and is it innovative? Is it exciting? Does it make you take that second look behind you when you're walking into the store? To me, that's number one priority. Number two, you know what? I'm looking for durability, longevity, because nothing is worse than having a fun car or having any car that is constantly in the shop or costing you huge money. So to me, it's always about, you know, is it fun? Is it interesting and exciting? And then of course it has to be somewhat practical, reliable, all of those things. They have to matter. Safety, yes, important. But to me, I come from a generation where I'm a Gen Xer. So I grew up I grew up at a time when there were no seat belts, or there were just lap seat belts. We didn't have airbags. We didn't have backup cameras. We had manual gearboxes, and cars were big and heavy and clunky. So I'm coming from a place where I'm sort of familiar, understand the goods and the bads, and cars are much safer these days. But it's for me personally, and not for everybody, for me personally, priorities of safety are important, always important. You don't want the wheels falling off, but it's usually kind of in that tertiary space. I like the fun, the reliability, and then kind of the safety and features and tech and all of that sort of fall after that. Brown Eyes says, hey, bro, how you doing today? I'm doing pretty good, Brown Eyes. How are you doing? Is that a BMW you're in? Yeah, actually, let me show you this. See, we've got a BMW, and this is an M, legit, straight up. Look at the speedo. You'll notice 330 kilometers per hour. So we're sitting in is my E60 M5. I love this car with a passion. I love this car. It is absolutely sweet. Yeah, this is my BMW. Yeah, I love this car. Are they reliable? No. But, you know, I saw a video the other day where Doug DeMuro was actually, he was chatting with one of his vlogs, and they were saying, what's your favorite M5? And they were going through the counts, and him and his buddy were comparing notes. And Doug put the E60 M5 like this as pretty much one of the top pops. It's just a reliability, but just putting reliability aside, just for what the car is, for how it drives and what it represents and presents itself in terms of performance, this is kingpin. I mean, you could make an argument the older generation with the manual V8 is a great way to go too, but these E60s are wonderful with the V10. M1, absolutely. What year is this? This one's an 06, so it's an earlier generation. And then Tread says mechanical engineering over electronic gizmos. Yes, I would too agree with that. I think, are we going too far? I mean, in a lot of ways we are. When you think of a lot of the electrified vehicles, hybrid vehicles, look at that McLaren Artura as an example of it's awkward. Sometimes it shifts on and off the electric drive and the engine. It doesn't always feel as coordinated. The tech inside is a little bit busy, and it's a little expensive to fix. Brown Eyes asked me, would you get a Porsche? Absolutely. Well, we have one, an older one. We have a 996, 911 Cabrio, 6-speed manual. I love the car. Is it their best 911 ever? Hell no, not really. Other than the fact that you can use it anytime, anywhere. It's fun. It's interesting to drive. But it's just one of those cars that's just so fun. It's just, it's honest. It's like an old pair of running shoes. Slip it on and go for a drive, and it's just easy to use. It's just great. Where is it? Well, it's here. It's at home. We have it here as well. Brown Eyes says, I want a Cayenne GTS 2021. Great choice. Those are awesome. Our neighbor has a Macan GTS, also a fun car. Farrell says, tech is weight too, like light. Yeah, pretty much. That's the thing. A lot of this technology can be heavy. Some of it's actually lightning. I mean, you think of a cluster of gauges and some of the hardware that more mechanical based. Instead of you put a flat screen that's pure digital, that might be light savings in some ways. But for the most part, I would agree. I think most cars, all the extra safety and all the extra technology is adding weight, especially if you're dealing with a lot of electrified vehicles now, or hybrids where you have the extra motors and all that and the batteries in there. So Brown Eye says, I want it certified. Yeah, I would get definitely a certified CPO warranty on that. They're an expensive car when they break. So Brown Eyes also, I want that SQ5 or so SQ8, X5 M50i or X5M. Or a Range Rover. You know what? Of that group that you're mentioning, for me, the SQ8, RSQ8, the RSQ8 that's a Urus, basically, right? Lamborghini Urus or the Cayenne Turbo. I think that's just a beast, and I like the looks of them. They're a little understated, but they're fast as hell. So, Christina Melty, hi, how you doing there, Christina? Great to hear from you again. Do I like the Urus as Brown Eyes? Love them, absolutely. And Crypto Crazy says, I made it to the live stream, and welcome. Thanks for joining in. So great to have you here. Yeah, again, right over there, what I'm going to do is drop a quick little live stream for the members of the channel. So those that have kind of become a member and want to understand more about what's going on in the personal life, I'm going to jump over to that car next and probably present over there shortly when I'm wrapped up here. I'm heading off to the car show, so I want to get to it. I want to kind of get to that another cut to the chase and get over there. But ultimately, I wanted to get to this point. I also wanted to share with you. I don't know if you've noticed, I actually have a video I linked in here, or a book. So an ebook that I just wrote. I featured it last week, and then I had a little technical issue with the channel, and I had to get it approved. Anyway, it's in there. It's good now. So I put a copy of Used Car Buyer's Guide, and I basically, the comprehensive guide. It's the most comprehensive guide. If you're thinking about buying a used car, I actually have that book for sale. Ebook, you definitely want to check it out. When you go onto any of my main videos, now I'm starting to feature it down at the bottom of my fourth wall page. You'll see a list of different goods, whether it's hats or shirts. You'll see I also have that book for sale. It's also should be linked into this live stream as well. So it should be the ability to click into that and buy it if you so are interested. But if you're looking for a used vehicle, I think it's truly a must-have because it's digital format. Download it, throw it on your phone. If you're out shopping, you can peruse the different things. If there's something you needed to reference, it's all in there, and it's a great reference point. So it's a great thing to have around if you've been shopping for used car. I mean, we know that dealers are always trying to take the upper hand, so it's good to have a little bit of advocation on my side. Somebody on your team, and that would be me. Always willing to try to help wherever I can. We've got friends and family that are always asking me questions. Mark, what would you do this? How do you do that? What kind of car would you buy? And I definitely give them everything I possibly can in the best way possible. So I thought you were Richard Rawlings, Gas Monkey Garage, but you're not. Bye-bye. Okay, well, see you there, Ricardo. Good having you here for a moment. Admin team support. I just bought a 25 Nissan Versa, 5-speed manual. I know it's the best performance. It's not the best performance car, sorry. But it's nothing to break. So that's a good call on that. And I think there's always a place for great little cars like that. Especially a manual, you get the CVT issue out of the way, and you have a low cost car that's low on insurance, great on fuel. It's a little bit fun with a manual gearbox. Any car that comes with a manual always brings a little bit of that fun. And it doesn't matter if you're talking 110 horsepower or 600 horsepower. I mean, they both bring a certain element of fun. I mean, you can drive a slow car fast, but to drive a fast car slow, you're very limited in these cities with, with photo radars, and it's just not safe to street race. Ideally, we need to take that to the track. So driving a car like that is just easy, and it's truly guiltless. So great choice on that. Hey, how's the weather in Canada? Zig T says, finally, it's not bad. We've got the snow is just about melted now. It's finally starting to warm up. Today was a windy, blustery day. We have sand blowing all over the place. It's a little a little crazy there, but and yeah, so admin team support says, yeah, it's a fun little car to drive. Absolutely, so good on you and great choice. And also for all says, I looked at the Versa for kicks. Good call. Yeah, again, if any of these cars come in a manual, and I get a lot of people don't drive manuals. I understand that. And CVT just easy, throw it in gear and go. And I also know that the CVTs have had some updates recently in Nissan, but they've got such a reputation for problems and the longevity's not there. I would almost always recommend a manual gearbox in any car, if you can get it, if it's an option. So anyway, again, on that note, everybody, I just want to say hi. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I know it's a short live stream. I got to jump next door over there and jump in that car, pull the wraps off there. And I'd like to hear anybody have any ideas. Those that aren't a member or anybody in the live stream, any thoughts of what that is parked over there? What do you have there? Rain on Saturday. Yo, hey, for all agent. Yeah, thumbs up. Nice Asher. What do you say? GTB buy or GTO buy? Life's too short to drive boring cars. Yeah, you betcha. Life is too short to drive boring cars. We're not here forever. Got to make it count, right? And that car there is definitely going to make it count. So I can't wait for the wind to die down, maybe get some of the gravel pulled off the road here. And then I'm going to be taking that thing out for a ride here real soon. But I'm going to jump over and thanks everybody so much. Don't forget to get your copy of the Used Car Buyer's Guide that's linked into this conversation or any of my future videos. I'll have it linked below the bottom of the video. So be sure to get yours. Thanks again, everybody. Barry Spruill, thanks for joining, and thanks everybody for jumping in, new, old, and everybody in between. Thanks so much. I really appreciate the support. Hope I gave you a little bit of insight today, and maybe, hey, if you're in the Edmonton area, drop by tonight. I'm heading on down to the car show. Maybe we'll see you down there. Tread, be good. You guys too. All have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. See you all real soon. Bye-bye.